stream, please share, subscribe, hit that like button for me. And let's get to this video. Suspect in Charlie Kirk killing is identified by officials as Taylor Robinson. It says Utah Governor Spencer Cox says that a family member of Robinson reached out to a family friends who contacted the Washington County Sheriff Office. Our officials have identified the person accused of shooting conservative activist Charlie Kirk as 22-year-old Utah resident Taylor Robinson. Utah governor, according to reports, let's go back to this. Bear with me for a second. They had captured the suspect in the shooting of Charlie. So the suspect was identified as Taylor Robinson. Now, according to NBC News, this post was posted 2 hours ago. Now, let's get to this developed story. It says, Utah governor says at a press conference on Friday morning that the investigators arrested and identified Robinson after surveillance video footage interviewing Robinson family members and reviewing online messages between Robinson and his roommates. We got him, Cox says, standing with FBI directors. Now, according to reports, it says Robinson is suspected to be charged with murder, felony discharge, a firearm causing serious body injuries and obstruction of justice according to a probable cause. Alpha Data. Charlie, a co-founder of a Turning Point of the USA and the influential voice in the Trump administration, was shot and killed Wednesday during an event at Utah Valley University, a public school south of Salt Lake City. His killing launched a manhunt amongst local, states, and federal authorities. Cox says that a family member of Robinson reached out to a family friends who contacted the Washington County Sheriff Office with information that Robinson had confessed it to them or implied that he had committed the incident. According to Cox, investigator interviewed a family member of Robinson who says he had become more political in recent years. The family members referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th in the conversation with another family member. Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to a UVU. Cox says they talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints, he says. Cox says that the investigator interviewed Robinson's roommate, who shows the authority message on Discord between Robinson and his roommate. The message associated with the name Taylor state a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush. An engraving bullet, having left the rifle wrapped in a towel, and mentioned a scope and a rifle being, according to report, Cox says. The authority says on Thursday that recovered a high-power bolt action rifle in a wooden area just off the university campus in conditions that much Robinson message that he gave, according to reports. Now it says, Cox says the rifle was being investigated. According to reports, it says here one of the inscription had the lyric to the Italian folk songs. Cox says, according to his report. So according to Cox, the inscription on the casing fire says, it says, OWO, what's this? It said the government added that the investigators also identified Robinson in a surveillance video from the Utah Valley University where Charlie was killed on Wednesday, which showed him arriving to a UVU at 8:29 a.m. in a gray Dodge Challenger. When investigators approached Taylor Robinson Thursday, he was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance image, Cox says. Surveillance image released by the FBI on Thursday shows what appears to be a young, thin man wearing a black long-sleeve t-shirt, an American flag on it, black sunglasses, an Adidas hat, jeans, and Converse sneakers. NBC News searched of states and national public records associated with Taylor Robinson's name and date of birth found no indication of the 22-year-old having a prior criminal record. Public records indicate that Robinson's last voter registration date was on July 13, 2021, and his political party is none declared. Robinson went to Utah State University for one semester in 2021. A spokesperson for the university confirmed to NBC News. The event was Charlie was shot and killed, was hosted by the school chapter of Turning Points USA, a group Charlie found that organized and mobilized young conservatives. Now, they captured the shooter. Now, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in, and I think that the family had gotten their closure. Now, let's roll this video. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let's go.
We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th, the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images. Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching.
Now, how the shooter was able to get away if this was supposed to be a roommate? Now, I want to just thank the family, you know what I mean, to make that call to get arrest, you know what I mean, warrant. But it's strange, fam, that how he was managed to escape and no one see, you know. But it took the family to reach out to the sheriff to get their, you know what I mean, to get their arrest warrant. You know, he was a 22-year-old college student, you know what I mean? And not only that, he supposedly supposed to be a roommate. Let's go.
The area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits. I know there's been speculation as well as to the writing on those casings, those bullet casings, and I believe we have that as well. And I will share that with you now. So the area north of Campus Drive Road where the suspect crossed over, you saw some of that in the video that we released last night, consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices bulges, capital OWO, what's this, question mark." Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist, exclamation point, catch, exclamation point." Up arrow symbol, right arrow, and
Look, here's the problem I have. The shooter was at large. And y'all can't see that this was an inside job. The shooter supposed to have been captured once the incident happened, y'all. But how was he managed to escape? There was a large crowd. And here's the thing I have. The shooter knows that he had planned this for a while. And, this has to be an active shooter, man. The question is, how many shots was fired? This has to be an active shooter. This has to be a shooter that knows how to hit his target. I believe he was like 200 yards from the event. I think that, he scoped it out the area. I think, after a while, he had scoped the area out. And, he might have went shooting. Because if this was not, an active shooter, then I don't know what to say, fam, because the shooter has to know his location. He has to be practicing, because in the reports it says he was 200 yards from the event. Let's go.
And symbol and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow." And a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO." We are indebted to law enforcement across the state who has worked seamlessly together, local law enforcement, state law enforcement, and our federal partners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We're grateful for everyone who worked together in such a short amount of time to find this person and to bring justice. I want to thank the public who has been so engaged, reviewing videos, helping us with sending in tips, and helping us get to this point. I want to thank the family members of Tyler Robinson who did the right thing in this case and were able to bring him into to law enforcement as well. I especially want to thank the family of Charlie Kirk, Erica, Charlie's parents, his children. I want us to be thinking of them as we bring justice in this case. They will be involved in that justice. We will be working very closely with them as we move through this process as well. This is a very sad day for our country, a terrible day for the state of Utah, but I'm grateful that at this moment we have an opportunity to bring closure to this very dark chapter in our nation's history. With that, I will now turn the microphone over to the Director of the FBI, Kash Patel.
Thank you, Governor. This is what happens when you let good cops be cops. The FBI and our partners are proud to stand here today together to bring justice to the family of Charlie Kirk and honor his memory. I want to express my deep gratitude to President Trump, the Vice President, and the entire White House who have been so incredibly supportive with both resources and just personally to the FBI as a team. They had our backs the entire way, and I just want to express my gratitude for giving us the resources we need to operate in this space to bring this sort of justice at this sort of speed. In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie. Governor Cox.
You hear that? In 33 hours, it took them 33 hours to start this manhunt. And this man was assassinated. This become a political problem. A political, activist was assassinated. And you mean to tell me the good things that they say is we already completed the manhunt within a 33 hours. But when President Trump was assassinated, they found the killer. See, this is why this make me think that this was a you know what I mean, government, you know what I mean, plot. After a while, after this manhunt got started away, after a while, they know that they had to get some kind of closure from the family. They know that this couldn't go too far, y'all. Because how do you got private investigators? An event like this, you're supposed to have heavy security. I just don't want to hear it no more, fam. You know what I mean? Because it took them 33 hours to capture the suspect. If it wasn't for the families to reach out, this suspect would have still been, you know what I mean, at large, man. Then it come to find out that the suspect supposed to have been a roommate. Y'all don't see through the lines that this was a political government plot. This is why Trump says, man, he would been the next president, man, or he would been the next he would been the next secretary, or he'd been the next Congress. They saw this young man on the rise, man. But at the end of the day, his life shouldn't have been taken. You know what I mean? A life been taken that you can't get back. At the end of the day, Charlie Kirk, life was never been taken. And this is the best thing they can do. Within 33 hours came. They got a call from the Robinson family. They wasn't trying to track down this man, man. This is the best thing they had. They already had the description. They already had a photo. But it took a family member to contact the sheriffs in order for them to get arrested. I said this manhunt search, I said the police, it seems like every time when they get themselves in this kind of situation, they reach out for public help. You already had, the description of the suspect. You already got photos. And y'all still need public help. And if it wasn't for the Robinson families, this suspect would still been out. Let's go.
Our partnership has been absolutely incredible these last few days. Our partnership will endure. Your state and local partners, your sheriffs, your DPS community has been unbelievably impressive in the hardest of times. And a case like this cannot be solved, cannot be brought without partnering with your state and local authorities. The FBI has a certain role to play. We will play that role, and we will lead out for the federal government. Governor Cox, we are so grateful for your state partnership that led out on this investigation. A little bit of the timeline. Charlie was shot at 12:23 p.m. on Wednesday. The first FBI agents arrived on scene in 16 minutes with chiefs of police at 12:39 and secured the scene. The FBI immediately launched fixed-wing assets. We utilized these assets to transport personnel, specialty technicians, hostage rescue teams. We also utilized these assets to go back and forth from the East Coast and here in Utah to transport forensic evidence and other evidence that will be analyzed and is being analyzed at our FBI laboratories in Quantico and other laboratories, including the ATF. At my direction, the FBI released the first set of FBI photos of the suspect at 10 a.m. local time on 9/11. Then, shortly thereafter, the FBI reward of $100,000 was released at 10:45 a.m. local. Myself and Deputy Director Bongino arrived on the scene at approximately 5:30 p.m. on 9/11. The governor led a press conference last night at approximately 8 p.m. where at my direction the FBI released a never-before-seen video of the suspect. We also released new images to the public of the suspect. And just last night, the suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox, the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period. And I want to highlight what Governor Cox said. This would not have been possible without you, the media, and you, the public. That's why we went so public, so fast, and we're so transparent. We're committed to that transparency. The crime scene, just a little bit there. It is a large crime scene. State and local authorities, along with federal authorities, processed that crime scene quickly. And I even had the ability to walk through that crime scene and walk through the steps the suspect took to learn more about what was needed and what resources we needed to bear to create a full picture for the FBI and leadership back in Washington. Furthermore, thankfully to state and local partners, forensic evidence has been seized and continues to be garnered. Forensic evidence has already been evaluated at FBI laboratories in Quantico and state and local authorities here. We will continue to process evidence as we see it, as we collect it, and we will continue to.
You know, fam, I'm happy that the family got closure, but you know what I mean, when it comes to the police, detective, they do a lousy work. They do a lousy work. Anytime you let a man flee from the scene, how is it no one's seen anything? Without the public, the police, they'll have no clues. They'll have no whereabouts of the suspect. How did they let the shooter get away? You got all these people at this rally. How do you let a suspect get away? Which I think, brothers and sisters, that this was no more than a government plot. Let's go.
Delivered to Governor Cox and his team. Last night we had a total of approximately 7,000 interviews. 7,000 leads. As of this morning, thanks to your great work, we have over 11,000 leads that were called in to the FBI. And we are running out every single lead that we can. Every one of those leads will be run out. The arrest is a testament to the dedication of good law enforcement being great and partnerships in law enforcement, which I've tried to highlight as my tenure as the director of the FBI. There is no better relationship for law enforcement than the FBI to partner with state and local authorities, and you've seen it here in these last few days. The FBI Salt Lake Field Office, along with our offices in LA, Phoenix, Denver, San Antonio, Las Vegas, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, our headquarters component in Quantico, all participate in the FBI. I want to express my deep gratitude to the employees of the FBI, the men and women, the evidence response team tacticians, the special operators, the agents, the support staff. You have done monumental work in historic time when the public, who had a right to demand such an expeditious solving of an investigation, the FBI answered that call diligently, critically important to our nation, and we delivered. And I'm proud to be their leader, and I'm proud to be the director of the FBI. This is a very much an ongoing investigation, as the governor said, and we will continue to work with state and local authorities to develop the investigation, to provide them the evidence they need for their ongoing prosecutions, and we will be here to answer every call they absolutely have.
Oh yeah, they got a person of interest. They captured the suspect, y'all. Her name was Taylor Robinson. The family, you know what I mean, contact the authority, which is the sheriff county, because you know what I mean, Mr. Robinson was talking about the killings, and so I guess one of the families heard and contacted the sheriff, you know what I mean, deputy. So they came out to make the arrest. So yes, they got a person of interest. You know, I'm just happy at the end of the day that the family was able to get closure. You know, the sad thing is they raided. It took this manhunt to continue to, you know what I mean. They continue to have this ongoing investigation, this manhunt for, I believe, it was 33 hours, y'all. 33 hours. You know, which don't make sense, y'all. This was a young 22-year-old, and I don't see how, you know what I mean, he was managed to escape from the crowd. He didn't have a lot of money to hide, go somewhere far to hide. See, when it comes to detective and police work, y'all, they do some lousy searching, man. This thing, without the public help, without the public assistance, they wouldn't have no kind of clue where the suspect next move, where his whereabouts. I mean, this was some lousy investigation, y'all. You mean to tell me it took the authorities 33 hours with the help of Robinson family? If it wasn't for his family to reach out, they wouldn't have no clue. You know what I mean? They would have no clue of where his whereabouts. They would have no clue where would be the suspect next move if it wasn't for the family to reach out. Let's go.
As long as it takes, for as long as we need to find and apprehend whatever suspects were involved in this crime. Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
You're about to lose $40,000 for your car accident because you don't know this one trick. Check this out. It turns out insurance companies use AI to calculate the lowest amount that they can pay you. Our AI flipped the script. It knows what you're actually supposed to be paid before they pay it out. It takes 30 seconds. You only answer 4 questions. Then boom, you see exactly what your car accident is worth. No lawyers, no insurance adjusters, and no BS. Just a real fat cash amount.
Thank you. Good morning. I would just like to take a few minutes as the sheriff to express my gratitude for everybody who has played a part in this investigation. As you know, it's been a vast, a complicated, and a very, very fast-paced investigation. You're looking and people standing up here who are running on, if they got an hour's sleep in the last couple of days, they're probably lucky. It has been very taxing. It has been so impressive, speaking on behalf of the local law enforcement, to see the cooperation that we've seen in this type of case. Across the state, sheriffs, chiefs, our state partners have stepped up and have come to the call on anything that we needed. Our county chiefs have been phenomenal. Our Utah County Attorney, Jeff Gray, who's standing up here with us, has been phenomenal in leading us through this investigation. I would like to thank the federal government for their resources, their assets. Our local team here, our FBI team, has been extraordinary in helping us work through this and bring this person to justice. Most of all, I would like to thank the public, and specifically, I would like to thank the public.
You see how you thanking the public? See, without the public, the police is nothing without the public, y'all. They get a tip from Robinson families, y'all. Just think about if the families wouldn't have reached out, they'll have to go back to the drawing board. They have to go back to square one. But with the family, you know what I mean, help, they was able to get a tip. And that tip, it was able to capture the suspect. Now I'm happy that the family was able to get some closure. That now they can get justice. Now they can get some relief. But the sad thing, he had to leave his family, you know what I mean, behind. His wife and his what, 2 daughters he had. This thing's sick, man. It's sick, y'all. It's sick to see a young man had a whole life ahead of him. A young man that had a whole life ahead of him gets his life taken. And I look, you know what I mean, every second of the day, when I look at this young generation, the young generation live with death. We have here in America, we have a big problem. You know, America, it's like they you know what I mean, manufacturing these killings we see. It's like they manufacturing these killings. You got white on white crimes. You got black on black crimes. You got police brutality. Now, who do we go to get help? If the police is not doing anything, if the police is out seeking for public assistance, then we got to ask ourselves, what are our police out here to do? If we see police brutality going on black American people, what are the police here to do? Let's go.
Who turned to prayers and who turned to positiveness for us. I would like to thank them on behalf of the law enforcement community because we needed those prayers. That's what we needed to get through this. We needed your support and you gave it to us. We needed your patience and you gave it to us. And I would like to thank you for the Kirk family because that's what they need, is your support and your prayers, and that will get us through all of this. So thank you everybody that have stepped up. We've had such a phenomenal response to this. Thank you.
I also want to give a special thanks to the Attorney General and the Department of Justice. Their unwavering support and their commitment to justice is shown true here. And without AG Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and the resources they brought to bear, we would not have been able to complete our mission. And I just want to say special thanks. It's an honor to be a part of the Department of Justice.
Stop buying generic Viagra if you're over 60. You qualify for 9 tablets of 100 milligram generic Viagra for just $7 with free shipping from Friday Plans. If you think it's a scam like I did at first, listen to this. I answered a few questions online, and 3 days later, my prescription was at my door. They even shipped it for free, so I only ended up paying $7 for everything after taking 1 tablet.
Thank you again to our incredible law enforcement team who has worked so hard. Sheriff, I got a solid 90 minutes last night, so I'm probably the most well-rested person up here. Ladies and gentlemen, I get the microphone, so I hope you'll permit me a moment just to share a few more thoughts about where we are and how we got here, and maybe a little bit of where we go from here. I don't want to get too preachy, but I think it's important that we, with eyes wide open, understand what's happening in our country today. I've heard people say, well, why are we so invested in this?
He said, with our eyes wide open. Yes, your eyes is wide open, but can't see the tragedies, the cruelties, the infliction, the robberies and murders, the looters, the looting, the police killings. And this is the best thing he can say, that our eyes are wide open. You got police and detective, CIA, Homeland Security. You got all these folks here. But this gruesome, savage acts you see is right between their eyes and ears. Now let's go.
Violence happening all across our country, and violence is tragic everywhere, and every life taken is a child of God who deserves our love and respect and dignity. This is certainly.
You know, I'm not buying it, fam. I'm not buying it. America, we got the best policemen. We got the best Homeland Security. But, you know, they don't do no work like you think. We got to do our own work, man. We got to do our own work, man. Because this is to show you, y'all. This is to show you right now, y'all, that if we don't come together in peace and unity and love, it's to show you, y'all, you know what I mean, that we are in trouble, man. We are in trouble as a people, as a collective people. We are in trouble, man. Now this should bring us closer. This should bring us closer. We should find a solution. How can we stop this senseless killings, this heinous killings, these hate crimes? How can we find the solution? And if there's a solution, if there's a method that we can find, the right method, we should be able to find peace in a time when it's needed. Now let's go.
About the tragic death, assassination, political assassination of Charlie Kirk. But it is also much bigger than an attack on an individual. It is an attack on all of us. It is an attack on the American experiment. It is an attack on our ideals. This cuts to the very foundation of who we are, of who we have been, and who we could be in better times. Political violence is different than any other type of violence for lots of different reasons. One, because in the very act that Charlie championed of expression, that freedom of expression that is enshrined in our founding documents, in having his life taken in that very act, makes it more difficult for people to feel like they can share their ideas, that they can speak freely. We will never be able to solve all the other problems, including the violence problems that people are worried about, if we can't have a clash of ideas safely and securely.
You know, the sad thing is, you don't have no ideas here without being assassinated. I don't care if this man was in a wrong or in a right. You don't have no right to kill this man, man. You don't have that right to take someone's life, man. Now he gotta leave his family and kids behind, man. And then you get a lot of YouTubers make mock of this, man. They talk about a deceased man, man. You know how sick this world is? You know how sick this world is? Now I had a brother, I got two brothers by the name of New Breed. I don't know if you guys heard of New Breed. He's a YouTube content creator, and a guy by a name of Reno. I want to share this, man. The two don't like each other, man. You got one, you know what I mean, that don't really have no interest of white people. You know, you got the other, you know what I mean, that cares. So I guess when I was on the live yesterday, I watched Reno TV. I like both of these brothers, man. But I was watching New Breed live stream, and I'm hearing them talking about, you know what I mean, this issue with, you know what I mean, Charlie. He was talking about how racist he was, and just saying a lot of hateful things, man. The man is deceased, man. We can't be a guy and then we're gonna talk about some deceit. You know what I mean? A deceased person where he's no longer here with us. And you know, the two I support, but I don't condone violence. And Reno TV and New Breed, they don't really like each other, man. And I don't know why, man. I don't know why that is, but they've been just going at it with each other, man. You know, I wish one day they can solve their differences, because the sad thing is they was close. You know what I mean? There was friends that, you know what I mean, once upon a time there was, you know what I mean, friends. And I believe that Reno, he was living, you know what I mean, I guess he was living in upstate New York, and he found a better living situation. You know, he moved to Carolina, and I guess supposedly New Breed gave him a hand, helped him move and things, and I guess the whole argument came about where New Breed felt like he was beating out some money from helping him move. So I guess that's became an issue. I think that they never had solved the issue, you know, and it led to all kind of threats. Well, I can do this to you, I can do that, and I just don't understand, man. I just don't understand, man, why the two don't really like each other. But to each his own, man. To each his own. But saying all that to you, you know, here we got a deceased, you know what I mean, man that gotta leave his family, children's, friends, his colleague behind, man, because you know, all behind a person decided to take his life. At the end of the day, fam, I don't care, man, if this brother didn't have nothing good to say, man. That don't give nobody the audacity to take someone's life where he's not here today. That don't give that person that right where his life got to be taken.
Even, especially those ideas with which you disagree. That's why this matters so much. Over the last 48 hours, I have been as angry as I have ever been. As sad as I have ever been. And it was, as anger pushed me to the brink, it was actually Charlie's words that pulled me back. I'd like to share some of those.
Thank you guys for tuning in, man. I want to wrap this up, man. It's a lot of things I gotta do around here. Thank you guys for tuning in. For more content, make sure you guys stay subscribed. You know, share this video. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna drag it too long. But yeah, share the video. I'm gonna be back with more content. Till then, I'm out, y'all. Thank you guys for tuning in.